Hey everybody, how is it going? It's Alex Williamson here with the secret history living in your ABC biotopes. So today we've got an awesome guest that I have, he's been a part of our community here on my channel for a long time. He's got his own channel, which whenever I see his stuff, I'm always like, I want that. Like, it's like on my wish list for Santa, right? Like to my wife, I'm like, hey, see this? This is what I want. Not that she'd ever give me any of it, but uh, she doesn't like to encourage my madness with fish. But how's everybody doing? We're real quick wanted to say hello to folks, and then we will bring Keni in from ABC or the Aquatic Biotope Creations channel. Guess I got to start this just to make things official. Yeah, that feels good. All right, so Frank Nelson, what's going on? Or Nielsen, Craig Jungle Nook, I like that name. Passing Wind, hello, Guppy Girl, Aquasora, what's up? Aquatic Moose, Lumpy Dog, Randy, Linda, Chris, Kimberly, hello, Translator, hello, Aquadoodle, Zach, what's up? Laura, what's up? Andy, Coro, J-Man, Nano Aquarium Guy. Yeah, we got lots of good folks in here tonight. Sketty Nona, Scuba Steve, Angie McGee, Channy, hello. All right, guys, so we're going to get this thing going. The 186 element, the Yeti, BJ Palmer, what's up? Good to see everyone. Crowd around the fire, friends. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring our guest up, Mr. Keni. All right, let's pull him up right now. Hello.
How's it going?
Good. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, just kind of hanging out.
Right on. So in case folks don't know who you are, you've got a YouTube channel and you're on what all platforms are you on?
So currently I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And
Okay.
I mean, I also have a Facebook page, but it's more my personal page.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Cool. Well, I mean, I've noticed that you've done a good job with shorter videos. I have done a terrible job with that. I mean, you've got a lot of videos that folks can just jump into and be like, oh, I want to see this river tank or some shiners
yeah,
or whatever it may be. And in about 4 or 5 minutes, you really get the feel for what's going on. So I really do appreciate that. Makes it easy for me to go back and try to recall, what you're about before you're on the show. That's for sure. But it's also nice
yeah,
for viewers, especially who are in kind of a like on the go and want to just absorb something. So your channel's really nice for that as well. But I just recommend that folks subscribe if they're interested in this stuff because you lay out how to make it. I mean, what it looks like from when you're building it all the way up to once it's fully cycled and balanced
yep.
and all that. And so, I mean, first of all, what are we talking about? What kind of tanks do you keep mostly? Then we'll get into how you got there. But let's let people know what they're in store for tonight.
Okay, so currently I keep exclusively North American native fish, and I'm working on breeding a couple different species of them. But in the past, like I've been in the hobby for about 23 years.
Wow.
And yeah, 12 of that is in saltwater. So, I mean, at one point I had my own business and I imported and sold saltwater corals and sold saltwater fish and stuff and did set up some maintenance for other people and everything. But, I've refocused my passion into the North American native side of fish keeping.
Right on.
And most as well. some of the tanks, like the tank behind me and some of the tanks in this part of my fish room, I set up natural biotopes for the fish. Whereas in like my breeding room, which I'll show you guys a little later, most of them are just basic scapes or, you know, bare bottom tanks and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I mean, that's really cool. So where the thing that everyone always asks me, especially like here in Washington, we have 54 species of native fish, and most of them are over 3 feet at adult max size, you know, salmonids and stuff. So
Yeah.
we're kind of stuck in our state. Other states think they're stuck, but literally Washington is kind of stuck. Like Washington, Maine, there's a few others that are a little stuck. But the whole Midwest, you know, the even the Southwest and the Deep South is super lucky, and then the Northeast has plenty of stuff. Where are you located? Like, can you source fish near you, or and do you do that?
So I'm in upstate New York, so I live in
Okay,
the Northeast, and it's I can source fish from my area and stuff, but so New York State is a little tricky with their laws and
yeah,
stuff. It is actually illegal to keep natives that are native to New York State in New
hmm,
York State. But I've got a permit through DNR for educational purposes to keep North American natives and some of the stuff that I keep here. And but aside from that, I do a lot of I go on a lot of collection trips. Like I went down to Virginia last April and did some collecting down there and stuff. And I've been to a
very
couple other
cool.
states doing collecting trips.
Right on. Yeah. See, I'm I'm really wanting to learn from you too and set up some tanks that are ready to go because you know, I have talks in Chicago or talks in, you know, like different places wherever I end up going, and every time I go somewhere, I try to go collecting, even if it's like ridiculously slim
Yeah,
chances of finding something cool, but
yeah.
you know, it's still worth it. And so I mean, I do you use chillers on your tanks at all, or like do they do
Uh,
okay just at kind of room temperature? Like that doesn't really go above, you know, summer temperature kind of thing, or
so I don't currently use any chillers or heaters in my tanks.
okay.
Um, my fish room is in my basement, and the temperature down here fluctuates between. I think the lowest I've measured any of my tanks at was 48 degrees Fahrenheit,
Okay.
and the highest would be I think 74. So
Right on.
you go from 48 in the middle of winter to 74 in the middle of summer when it's 110 outside. So
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I mean, that works out pretty well. For I guess
yep,
48 could be a little cold, but almost all North American natives, even like Elasoma and stuff like that, they'll handle it if they've got some like duff or plants to kind of dig burrow into, some substrate or
yeah,
something.
and they don't stay that cold for long. Usually
Yeah.
my tanks hover around 55 to 58 in the wintertime, unless it's like super cold outside. Then they'll get down into the high 40s, low 50s.
Okay. And then as far as feeding these fish, how does that go? Because they're wild creatures, and I mean, not that a lot of aquarium fish aren't just wild creatures, but yours, you know, we don't really have domestic lines of most North American
Yeah.
fish. So do you have to feed a lot of live food, or can you feed a lot of frozen food? Like, what's the
So
deal with that?
I have a very wide variety of foods that I feed. Like I think one of the staple foods that I feed most of my fish is probably Sarah Onips. And then
Hmm.
I've got a
Yeah.
couple different varieties of Dr. Basilier's foods.
Okay.
And I do a lot of live foods. Like in the summertime, I have some buckets and tubs outside that collect mosquito larvae
Yeah.
and bloodworms and daphnia and stuff like that that I'll harvest and feed to my fish. And then I do hatch live brine shrimp pretty often stuff too.
Right
So I try
on.
to feed a very wide variety of foods to them to keep their diet like.
Yeah, yeah. That's really neat. I mean, because a lot of people think, oh, I can't. keep, native fish because I need a chiller and I need to feed them the exact thing they eat in the wild. And I mean, if you think about it, we aren't doing that with tropical fish. They don't eat flakes in
Yeah.
the wild. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and a catfish or a sunfish or something like that is probably a lot more likely to eat flakes or tablets or something compared to like some quick little darty minnow that is specialized to eat, nymphs or some other little, bug. So
Yeah. And then
I could see
I
that
do
for sure.
also breed. Yeah, I also breed. I have a couple different tanks that I'm breeding scuds and pond snails and ramshorn snails into. That, like, for some of my
Sure.
darters, I'll supplement their diet with some live snails and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, how many tanks do you have set up right now?
uh, the last time I counted, I had 32 set up in the room.
Wow. Wow. You probably
So
have
yeah,
one of the largest collections of native fish then of a hobbyists in the US, I would say, because I mean, I haven't seen much larger collections than that. So I've seen a few people write about that, but I mean, that's really, really impressive. So yeah.
I'd have to count again, but last time I counted, I think I had 32 or 34 different native species
Wow.
in my collection.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. And I mean, do you keep any endangered or threatened fish that you're trying to kind of like care for since you've got that special permit? Like what does that encompass anything like that or would you have to get something
So
else for that?
there's other permits and stuff you'd have to do for that, and
Okay.
it's a lot more in depth. Like DNR will come to your house and have to check your setups and everything like that, and
Look in all
um
your
so
drawers.
yeah, basically, and make sure you're doing everything by the book and stuff. But so I don't keep any endangered or threatened North American native species, but I have one species of Cares fish
Okay.
currently, and I'm working on getting another one pretty soon here. So,
Cool. What can I
and
ask
that's
which species that happens?
yeah, so it's the northern mountain swordtails, or the
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
is it? Ziphoporus nezahalcoidals, or the Nezi
Yeah, don't ask me how
swordtails.
to say that, but yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are cool
I
fish
probably
though.
butchered that.
No,
Yeah,
I know what
they're
you're
pretty
saying.
cool.
All right. So I keep seeing a question
And
in
the other
chat
ones
that
that
oh, go for it.
so the other species of Caris fish that I'm gonna be getting real soon is the trout gadiids. So
Oh, yes, the Goodeids. They're awesome. I mean, the tequila and the
yeah,
volcano, and I mean the split fin San Marcos. Like, there's some really beautiful ones. There's some that are like people don't realize, but there's some that are like pretty good sized fish, like 3 inches or so full grown, and they're like three colors completely bisected, like, or I guess that would be trisected, but
yeah.
like they'll be black and orange and then blue or something, like very interesting, almost like rainbow fish, some of them.
Before we get too far into this, I gotta make it official too.
Oh
So
yeah, right on.
oh, that didn't work
You
out the way I planned it.
did it just spray everywhere? Thank you. Cheers.
A little bit. So
Ah, I'm telling you, they owe me a lot of advertisement, or at
yeah,
least my diabetes co-payments when that happens. So somebody happened in the chat. I keep seeing who was it? Oh, it's Zach. Okay. So he's saying I'm concerned about the chemical spill in Ohio. So I just wanted to
yes,
let's talk about that for a sec. So I would be concerned if I lived in Ohio, right in that area. What the chemicals are are not good. However, if you look up those chemicals, the sad and scary truth is that every urban area in America has some of those chemicals floating around the air. How bad is it actually in Ohio? We don't know for sure, because there's clearly some resistance or negligence in handling the situation, and they burned it off, which is okay, whatever. I don't know if that's how we're supposed to handle deadly chemicals these days. Just burn them. But the main fallout, it will be much worse if you're reading this as an aquarist and you're seeing the stories of all the fish dying, and I think there's like 9 rivers affected now. It's going to be way worse for those fish than for humans, honestly. So don't be eating the fish, don't be eating the bugs, the fish, the small creatures that are lower in the trophic levels. Honestly, the eagles and things like that, they eat a lot of fish, and the predatory fish will be the next ones to get it. But I wouldn't worry about it unless you live within an immediate, 10 or 20 miles. If you're right in that area, maybe seek out more information. But if you're worried of it, spreading down river and in the ecosystem and stuff like that, then I mean that's all I can say about it. But I saw it in the questions, and I have been doing some research on it, but I'm just not so sure of what's happening yet that I feel like I can comment on it. I was going to make a video on it, but even talking to biologist friends, they're like, we don't really know the extent of how bad it is, because there's a push and pull of, there's people trying to sensationalize it and say that it's the worst thing ever, and there's people trying to say that it's no big deal, and the truth's somewhere in between. But yeah, it's pretty not good, obviously, but there have been much worse spills and things. That doesn't make it any better, but it's just, since folks are talking about it in the chat, Zach says that it's been in 10% of the water supply in the area. Maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking the water if I lived right around there. No, I would be drinking bottled water. But even then, I mean, you've got PCBs and other things that can end up in bottled water if if you let it sit in the sun in your car or whatever, and sit in a bug out bag for a year or whatever. So, we're exposed to so many chemicals that it's a bit of a rarity now that we're exposed to one that does us in quickly. And it's hard to say what will happen. I mean, that's a no duh, but that's the most I wanted to say on it, just because I saw folks talking about it. But yeah, so I hope that helps. That me saying nothing useful, I hope that helps. But Keni, back.
And I guess on a more positive side, from some research that I've done, there's no endangered or threatened species of fish that live in those watersheds. So, I mean, it is going to wreak some havoc for the natives that are there, but at least we're not further damaging some already threatened species and stuff. Now, if it does make its way down into the Tennessee River drainage, then it could do a lot more damage, because there's a lot of endangered species in that area.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing is that the news will use this, and they always do this with radiation and radioactive stuff, and it drives me nuts. They'll say it's 5,000 times the legal limit or the European safety limit. And it's like, yeah, but the European safety limit is like designed for daily work, like settings, where you're exposed every day for your whole life of a career. So they set that limit extremely low. Like being in a plane has more radiation than a lot of when like Fukushima happened. Don't get me wrong, it was really bad in areas, but there were other things, like when they're reading the levels coming across the ocean into my state in Washington in particular, they're like, it's 4 times the safe limit. And it's like, Yeah, according to the EU, but I mean, it's going to be a few months of that and then it'll dissipate. Uh, Maybe don't eat the fish that live directly in the area. So you gotta look into those claims that media makes, and also look into which narrative is being pushed. Obviously BP's newsletter, isn't going to be the best for an oil spill, but
Yeah.
at the same time, Greenpeace or something like that might have an incentive to make something sound more dramatic, or the local news might. So I just do your own research, obviously, but yeah, that's a good point about the
Yeah.
endangered species. Not that
And
area
I was
is.
just going to say the same thing. Is if you want to know, if you want to try to figure out more of the truth, is you're going to have to do your own independent research on stuff, because the media is not going to tell you what they don't want to tell you, and other
Yeah.
outlets are going to tell you what they want you to hear. So
Yeah, and a lot of times, you're not being lied to blatantly, it's being omitted. So you don't even know what is being avoided being talked about. So that's why your own research, is so important. Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And I think people are always, I think an abundance of caution with dangerous chemicals is fine. If someone else, if Norfolk Sutherland's on the line to pay for it just to be safe, why not go with bottled water for a while in the area, rather than possibly getting cancer or whatever. But um, let's keep moving on with the
yeah,
native fish and stuff like that. We can talk in the chat. We can talk on another episode, like on tomorrow, actually. We can talk about that more. I'll actually do some more research specifically if I can find some numbers and readings that are up to date, like today, because I haven't looked at it in a few days. But so Keni, what is your story? So you said you went through salt water, like what's your journey been with fish in your life?
uh so I mean, like a lot of other fish keepers, I started out young. I think
Yeah,
growing up, my father had a 125-gallon tank with some Oscars in it and stuff. I mean, this was in
cool.
like late 80s, so I was little. But I got my first fish tank when I was about 14 or 15, and I've been keeping fish ever since. I started with the cool tropical fish, and
Yeah,
eventually moved into some monster fish and stuff, and then slowly transitioned into saltwater hobby, and then ended up making that a side career for myself for a while, and then got out of the hobby completely for about 3 years, and then just got back into it and started keeping and focusing on North American natives.
yeah, right on. I
That
mean,
pretty much sums it up.
was there something that sparked your interest in North American native fish that you were like, like did you find an article, or what did that?
No, it's just my so I've always had a love for nature and the outdoors and stuff, and so I wanted to combine my love of nature with my love of fish keeping and stuff. So I figured the best way to do that is to start getting into the hobby with North American natives, and trying to show some people that, some of the beautiful fish that we might have in our own backyards and stuff.
Yeah,
And with that, try to teach them why it's important to preserve these habitats that are being decimated by sedimentation and farmland runoff and stuff like that. And
totally.
so my main goal is to try to teach habitat conservation and preservation by showing people some of the fish that might be in the stream in their backyard, or this random roadside ditch that you don't even think anything of.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree that's a great. I mean, that's a great goal and a great plan to kind of have a larger message or theme to your fish keeping. I mean, I feel like that keeps it more interesting in a way too. Like, not that fish keeping's dull, but sometimes you get burnt out when you're doing the same group of fish, or you've had a setup for a long time and you kind of want some new excitement. But when you're looking at the entire ecosystem, there's so many things to zero in on that I feel like it keeps the hobby and the science of it all so fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So if you don't mind, I was hoping we could maybe take a look at a couple of your tanks. And Eric, thank you very much. Eric Wyrock just did a super chat. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Keni
I love Eric.
is
He's awesome.
amazeballs. He has the best energy, that is for sure, man. Especially in the morning, I'm like watching the morning show, or yeah, and I'm just like
I
half
couldn't
awake.
keep up
Like,
with Eric's energy.
yeah, yeah. So we will, guys in chat, we will also be doing questions for Keni. But let's take a look at a couple of Keni's tanks and talk a little bit about them, and then we'll.
Where would you like to start? I mean, we can. This tank behind me looks kind of small, but if I sit back,
it looks huge to me, man. I don't have any tanks
gallon.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
So, this is a 180 gallon. It's a Lake Champlain Biotope.
Oh wow, that's a cool idea. So is that like bluegills and pumpkin seeds, or what are those big fish there? The sun.
That's exactly right. So this big guy here is a pumpkin seed. There's another pumpkin seed behind him.
Those are good sized pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, and then there's a couple bluegills in there. The little guy, I don't know if you can really see him. The little guy up here in the branch, is a rock bass, and then there's also a bowfin in there.
Oh yeah, your bowfin. I saw that short, and I was like, "Holy smokes, you got a bowfin! That's so cool."
Yeah, I think he's in the back corner. I could take you down and show him.
Because that is a fish that just recently they split into two species.
Yeah, Amia calva and Amia. I forget the other one.
Yeah, but I take it you have the more northern one, yeah?
Yeah, so this is the Amia calva.
Very cool. And guys, if you want to see action shots of his fish, he's got shorts on his channel, ABC by Aquatic Biotope Creations. Definitely go check them out.
I'm gonna turn the camera around here quick.
Yeah, and we'll just take a couple looks at your at whatever's easy to show us, and then after that, I might pull up a couple little shorts just so folks can see the fish, so to speak, like up close or whatnot. Wow, that's
a full tank shot.
That is such a cool tank. I am so jealous.
Yeah, and again, that's a 180 gallon, so it's 6 by 2 by 2, and that log in there is all one piece. That's a 5 foot log. Was a pain in the ass. Excuse my language to get into that tank.
Did you get that out of Lake Champlain? I mean, are these fish literally out of there, or are they just species that are,
They're the same species that you would find in Lake Champlain, but these guys were all locally collected from an old rock quarry.
That's
with the exception of the bowfin. The bowfin came from the Missouri River, and
the old rock quarries are an interesting spot because they get stocked with, or at least birds drop off, like rock bass, sunfish, green sunfish, pumpkin seed fish, bluegills, sticklebacks, things like that. I was down in Florida and I was at an old rock quarry, and it was just full of stuff like that too. Pretty interesting how that works. Okay, so that is that's a big tank. That is wild.
All right. Here's a basic look at my fish room.
Wow, you got a nice, huge fish room. So, what's going on in these shallow tanks that look like old coral frag tanks or something? What's the story?
So this tank here is a custom built tank. So I build a lot of tanks as well. Like I custom build them. It was a 50-gallon tank that had a cracked side panel, and I took it all apart, cut all the glass horizontally, and then put it back together as a 25-gallon long with the same footprint as a 55. So it's 48 by 12 by 9 inches.
Oh wow,
So it comes out to 25 gallons. And this is a blackwater swamp biotope.
that is cool.
That's good.
And so are you adhering plant wise to your biotopes too? Then, like, are you
Oh
trying to
yeah,
keep plants from those places in there too? Obviously.
yep. I try to get as specific as possible when I'm recreating an actual biotope.
Is that like a
Whereas some of my
white
other tanks,
water nymphea?
yeah, that right there, and this
Yeah,
one,
and that yeah,
yep,
that's cool. I've wanted to get those for a while.
yeah. So
That's
they're
really
you
neat.
can see they're shooting up the lily pads already and stuff.
Yeah. So are you keeping like little gobies and darters, or what's in there right now?
I don't know if you can see them right here. Excuse me, but uh, there's Ellisoma gilberti in here,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and swampfish as well. There's 3 swamp fish and 5 Ellisoma gilberti in here.
Very cool. And have they spawned for you at all in there?
Not yet. I've only had this tank set up about 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's brand new. Oh,
And
there's a little Elisoma.
right there.
That's actually a pretty good size Elisoma. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
they're fully grown. He's about an inch and a
Oh,
half, maybe
definitely
almost.
then. Yeah, definitely. Very cool. Did you get that from
And I believe that's a female.
yeah, it looks like a female to me. It's either a female or a very stressed male. They're so fun to watch though. The way they hunt and just kind of like they're almost like little puffers. The way they turn their head and then they kind of zero in on stuff and think about it and
Yeah,
tootle over. Yeah, that's very cool.
I wish it was focused.
No, I know how it goes, especially with live streams. It's maddening. But that's a cool shot though, that lengthwise shot of that whole tank. That is very, very neat. And so you silicone that. Did you build the stand too then, I take it?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. And then is there a filter in that tank or is it set up filterless or how do you roll with that end of things?
Uh, there's a sponge filter right here.
Ah, okay. And okay, so it's one of those ones that's really affordable. I love those because
Yeah.
get them on Amazon or wherever for, like 5 for $20 or 5 for $15, whatever it is. And then you can actually
Yeah, I
take,
think I paid like 15 for 4 of these.
yeah, and then you can take off you could take off one of the sponges if you want and seed another tank with it if you're like needing filter media to jumpstart a new tank. They're like modular. Not to mention
That's
those same
exactly what I did.
sponges. Yeah, those same sponges work really well too as a intake filter sponge cover, like a pre-filter
Yep.
sponge for certain like hang off the backs too.
And
Yeah,
so
awesome.
you'll see all of my tanks in my fish room are run off of sponge filters, except
Uh-huh.
for the stream tank over here, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But
Yeah, that's
I have a
exciting.
linear piston air pump that right there.
Oh wow! And so then
Goes in,
everything's running from that.
yep, and it goes into a PVC manifold that pretty much goes around the whole entirety of my fish room,
Oh
and
wow!
then
Wow,
drop down
that's impressive.
wherever I want to make a tap in. I've got these little Zis air valves.
Yep, yep. That's really cool.
Even
That's a
the
great way to do
180
it.
here has two of the larger sponge filters in it.
Yeah. Now, do you like coarse or fine or medium? What kind of sponge filters do you find work best with the fish that you've kept, native stuff?
I mainly use the coarse sponge filters.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And then there's this,
This is beautiful.
which this is also custom built. I built this whole tank. This is all made from old fish tanks, and the bottom of the tank is an old glass bar top.
And so this is also the one that you built that's online in stages, right?
Yep.
The flow
Yeah,
tank.
I've got
Wow, look at all those
the
fish
build
swimming.
video of it.
Yeah, wow. Beautiful.
These are all mountain red belly dace, saffron shiners, and crescent shiners. And then there's a bluehead creek chub right here.
Oh,
And
so
there's
cool.
also a northern hogsucker right there.
Wow. That is awesome. And so if people don't know, there's all sorts of interesting connections in North America with the shiners and the fish. There's these incredibly colorful fish. Like they
Yeah.
get way more colorful than even this, even though I think this is pretty cool. But some of these, will get
Yeah,
electric
they were
colors.
fired up for a while before the stream, but
Yeah, it's
they've kind
amazing
of
how
dulled down a
quickly.
bit right now.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they change. But those red-sided mountain, um, man,
The
they're
mountain red
beautiful.
bellies.
You mountain red bellies.
Yeah.
There's a few different variations of like mountain red belly, red-sided mountain minnow. Like there's a few different that have red and mountain on them, and they're all beautiful. There's like three or
Yeah.
four of them, and I can't ever keep them straight, but they're all beautiful.
So there's northern red belly. There's northern red belly dace, southern red
Yes.
belly dace, mountain red belly dace, and then there's also Tennessee dace, which are basically identical to the mountain red belly dace, except they're endemic to a different area. So they're an
Very
undescribed
cool.
subspecies, basically.
And the ones with
But
the yellow
the
fins
northern,
and the red,
yeah,
are those the
the
saffrons?
northern and southern red belly dace,
Yeah.
these guys here in the front with the
Yeah.
green lateral line,
Yeah.
yeah, those are saffrons.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And if you know saffrons, you'll know like these guys turn like the red you see on the red belly dace. The saffron shiners will get their whole body will turn that red, and then their green lateral line turns into a yellow line, which wraps around the front of their face and stuff, and they look super pretty when they're breeding. Like you can see a little bit of it in this guy here.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So they're a really dynamic fish. That is
Yeah,
super cool. Now, what's going on with that white little container that you've got going on there? Is that for
this
catching
tray here.
eggs? It's a what?
Yeah, so that's it's a breeding. It's a makeshift breeding mound. So in the
Okay, cool.
wild, these particular species will they're nest associate spawners. So bluehead creek chubs in the wild, when
Yes.
there's most creek chubs will build stone mounds and spawn over the stone mounds. But these other guys, all these the mountain red bellies and the saffrons and this crescent shiners here, they all are nest associates, so they'll use the creek chub's mound to spawn as well. So I'm basically recreating a creek chub mound in the aquarium to try and induce spawning, so I can breed these guys and pull the eggs out. So they'll spawn on here, which has some mesh over it, and the eggs will fall down in the container, and then I can pull the container out and harvest the eggs.
That's awesome.
And
Now,
hatch them in a different system.
have you gotten eggs out of these guys yet? Set up that way?
I did when I first collected them, but something like the eggs went like all fungus and like pretty much disappeared in a day, and
Yeah.
they haven't spawned again since. But if you look, all of the females are super big.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean, they look like they're ready to pop. Yeah, they look very gravid.
yeah,
So
so I've extended the photo period on this tank, and I've been doing some more frequent water changes and upping the feedings and stuff a bit to try and induce spawning more.
very cool. Very cool. And so again, it looks like we got some new folks popping in right here. Hello, welcome everybody. Hey Judy. Somebody wants to know, JP Jeffries is asking tips for keeping rainbow darters. Yeah, they're kind of in the same realm as a lot of these fish that you got going on here. Do you have any tips for keeping, this shiners and things like this? What you're doing is really honestly next level in that you've got the associate fish that have the mounds. I mean, it's like having stone rollers
Yeah,
with the rainbow shiners, Um,
yeah, and I actually have central stone rollers. I have rainbow shiners.
oh wow.
I have rainbow darters as well. But yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question again? I forgot.
Do you have any tips for keeping darters?
Keeping rainbow darters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my biggest tip is keep temperatures down, because darters are very susceptible to higher temperatures, and they don't like that. So keep temperatures. I'd say between 65 and probably no higher than 75 if you can. Or it
Yeah.
can go lower than 65, obviously, but um, and then well oxygenated water, and they're gonna
Hmm.
appreciate current more than not. So if you look at where rainbow darters live in the wild, they live in the more turbulent areas of creeks and streams and the rifles and stuff, and they perch amongst rocks and eat different invertebrates that drift through the water, and so they're gonna appreciate that the cooler, well oxygenated aquarium setting.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think the oxygenation is pretty important, like you were saying. That's what I've noticed with keeping most natives.
Yeah,
Not all. There's swamp natives and stuff like that that like brackish and or even standing water like elasoma and stuff. But um, for the most part, most of the shiners, darters, daces, things like that, they seem to really enjoy flow and fresh water, low TDS, or at least moving water, if not low TDS. Um,
yeah,
so
yep.
so what do you have going on? Is that under gravel filtration, or what is the deal with the bevels underneath everything on that tank there?
All right. So again, this is a custom built tank,
Yeah, it's
and it
wild.
it has a false bottom. So you can see the actual bottom of the tank is right here, and then
Yeah.
there's a 2-inch false bottom where I have an overflow and then an outflow on the other side. And basically, this pump right here is a linear crossflow pump, similar to like a max spec gyre, if you're familiar with the crossflow
Oh,
pumps in saltwater. But it's got two long turbines.
oh shoot, we lost him. All right, we'll let's see. Let's see if he hops back on here in a sec, guys. But Aquatic Biotope Creations is his channel. Let me get a link to you for you guys. Um, like an active link. Oh, here we go. All right.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I figured, it's hard to juggle all this stuff.
So
Thank you,
there's the
Muppet.
pump. It's got two like auger style impellers, and it just pushes water through the false bottom and back up through this side here, and creates a continuous convectional flow without any interruption like you would have if you did the typical stream manifold setup.
Wow. So you got almost like a laminar flow stream.
Yeah, yep.
So it doesn't cause all that turbulence and agitation in the center of the water, only at the top, which is where you're getting the extra aeration. And you've got
Yep.
the possibility, I suppose, of some sort of undergravel plenum, but I don't know. I don't know if there's enough substrate there or what realistically, but that's not really your main hope. It's the flow.
Well, in the past, I've used this chamber under here basically to culture scuds and snails down there. I would
Oh,
seed
it's
it
a
with
great
scuds,
idea. Yeah.
and then they would eventually they're feeding on mulm and detritus down there, and then eventually would make their way back up through the through this side here, and then
Yeah.
just become food for the. So I mean, it's basically I've used it as a refugium, if you would, for live food cultures in the past. And
That's
actually,
brilliant.
the first time I set this tank up, because this is round two of setting it up, but the first time I had it set up, I had some different fish stocking, and I had rainbow darters in this tank, amongst other
Uh-huh.
things. But when I went to clean it and break it down, I found a bunch of rainbow darter fry in the bottom chamber of the in the false bottom.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. I
my
mean,
rainbow darters, and then the eggs made their way down there and ended up hatching, and they were feeding on infusoria and all kinds of stuff down in the detritus in the false bottom.
totally, totally. Man, those yellow fins are just electric right now. That's so
Oh
cool.
yeah, and I mean that's
Uh,
like 30% fire it up.
I know, I know. So somebody says, how do you keep the cost down, or how? I mean, how much does it cost to do something like this, to build something like this?
So the way I like to do everything on a budget and as cheap as possible. So I try to source all of my fish tanks secondhand,
Sure.
because I'm not worried about resealing a tank. I can reseal tanks. I can take them apart and cut the glass and build a completely new fish tank. So I pick up a lot of broken tanks on the side of the road and bring them home and cut them apart and salvage what I can. And I dumpster dive at Petco and PetSmart and take aquariums that they're throwing out and stuff. And
Yep.
you
Yep.
know that's how I've gotten a lot of my fish tanks. And then I search for like uh plate glass panels on Craigslist and on Facebook Marketplace and stuff, and I'll pick up stuff and then use it when I need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, like
Uh,
none of my tanks are heated, so I save money with not having to heat any of the fish tanks. I use cost efficient lighting. All of my lights are LEDs and stuff. So
yeah.
I find as many
Are
ways as
you?
I can to keep costs down.
Yeah. Are you using fish lights, or are you using like floodlights and stuff from Lowe's or Home Depot kind of thing?
I mean, these
Oh,
lights here are
nice.
just like gooseneck
Yeah.
desk lamps, basically, with the LED bulbs in them.
Right on.
This tank here, I'm running
Oh,
two
yeah.
50-watt LED floodlights on it.
Yep. I use
So
that
those are
trick too.
Amazon special.
That's incredibly
The
cost
swamp
effective.
tank,
Yeah.
I'm running two pendant lights with just their 125 watt equivalent LED bulbs, flood bulbs. But I think they're only like, they only draw 50 watts a piece, I think.
Yeah.
And then I actually took some old flower pots and drilled holes in the bottom and made them into shrouds for the lights.
That is super smart. That's great. Oh, I love that. So
Yeah,
you're saving all sorts of money doing this DIY. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I got
And
tanks all over
that
the place
really,
that are
projects. And so that also really allows you to get the glitter off the top of the water then too, when you elevate the lighting like those. That's really cool.
Yep.
So we also had the question, do you have any snails or shrimp or like cleanup crew that's native that you use like you would in a tropic, or a tropic aquarium, like mainstream aquariums?
Yeah, well, most of my aquariums are seeded with mainly scuds and either pond snails or bladder snails. So those are all native, native to the area. And those, I find especially the scuds are probably one of the best detritivores, for cleaning up after stuff. And
totally.
but that's primarily what I use. And then these tanks here are 5-gallon tanks on the bar back. This one's got least killifish and bluefin killifish in it.
Oh, when those are colored up are probably one of my favorite natives. When I jumped into a river in Florida and was surrounded by a whole shoal of them, man, they're incredible looking colored up. Bluefin killifish.
Oh yeah, like there's a couple males in there that are super pretty. And I've got an old 5-gallon metal frame tank that I've filled with black water.
Somebody said, Greg Jones says, missed opportunity to not build a live food dispenser on that bar back. Well, I think the tanks themselves dispense food in that they're all ecosystems, but yeah. Oh, he's got it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yep, you got it. And it's even LED lit, right on.
Yeah. There's two brine shrimp hatcheries in there, and then the tank on the end, which is empty right now, was a green water tank that I was using for Daphne and stuff. So
right on. Yeah. Especially if you have an outdoor space, then probably 9 months out of the year you can raise Daphnia and other stuff, bloodworms and stuff outside.
Yeah,
which is handy.
And then this is the rest of my fish room.
So that's the actual fish room.
Yeah, this is what I call the breeding room, because most of the fish in here are part of breeding projects that I'm working on and stuff.
Very cool.
So we'll go through and show you some of everything, some of what's what and stuff.
Sure.
And there's the green water that was seeded from the tank on the bar back.
Okay, yeah, green water is great for newborn fish.
Yeah.
You got plants in there. Are those windows to the outside?
This right here? No, it's like an old built-in entertainment center.
Okay. I was wondering if
this room used to be like a little theater room. Basically, there was like a couch here and then an old TV and stuff in there.
Oh, okay. I was just curious if you had any light coming in, or if it's all artificial on those plants. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, on the plants, it's all artificial lighting. Yeah, it's all
Yep.
it's
Okay.
LED shop light strips
Oh,
that
nice.
are
Okay.
all interlinked.
Very cool. Hey guys, remember to hit that like, thumbs up button if you're enjoying this, and also go check out Kenny's main channel if you guys are enjoying checking this stuff out. He has a whole channel of it. He's almost at 1,000. Let's get him to 1,000.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm actually gonna do a giveaway when I hit 777.
We'll get you there like
So
tonight. Let's
I
get
think
him there
I'm at like
tonight, guys.
I think I'm at like 50 right now. But so we'll start right here, I guess. These are rainbow darters.
Oh, beautiful.
There's a male and then a very pregnant female.
Holy smokes.
So
yeah,
I
look at
actually
that
just
male.
moved these two. Yeah, I just moved these two into this tank because so I'm hoping that they'll spawn again in this tank for me. Yeah.
Right on.
So that's the male and the female on top of the rock up there.
What kind of darters are those?
These are rainbow darters.
They're their actual rainbows. Okay.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're actual rainbows. I know there's a lot of like orange throats and stuff look very similar,
Yeah.
but these are rainbows.
Very cool.
And then this tank down here is a mix of wild caught rainbow shiners and some rough shiners. You can see obviously the rainbow shiners. And then there's a bunch of smaller wild caught rainbow shiners in here right now. And then the ones with the more solid black lateral line are the rough shiners, whereas the ones with like the gold line are the rainbows.
Very, very pretty. I have one of those left over from last year when the temperature spiked way too hot in my tubs, and one is just he still colors up all on his own. It's crazy.
I've got these are all rainbow shiners as well. These are the
holy smokes
remaining from my last batch that I had spawn. These from guys are about 5 or 6 months old right now.
Are those the bottom of the tank ones?
So,
yeah.
Yep.
Hey guys, let's get him to 777 subscribers tonight if we can. He's at 760 right now. We can get him 17 of y'all out of 110 or 130, get whatever it is coming and going tonight. We can do that. I just put the link in the live stream. You know you can do that for him, guys. It would be much appreciated. You don't even have to set alerts right away.
These are
just subscribe, see if you dig it, then put the alerts on, whatever it takes.
I really appreciate all of my subscribers. But yeah, this is the why is my phone doing it? This is the last of the fry from my last spawning I had. So these are F1 rainbow shiners. So they're one generation removed from
the wild. Or yeah. Wow. Yep. Now where is the best place? Oh, cool.
What's it?
Where is the best place to source native fish if you're trying to get them legally and you're not going to go collect them? What do you think the best place to get them is?
One of my absolute favorites is Jonah's Aquarium. And I talk to Mark quite often. Mark's one of and but I know there's others like Zimmerman's carries native fish. but my go-to is Jonah's aquarium.
Same, yeah. Plus, he sells incredible
So
dip
these guys,
nets.
yeah, perfect dip net.
Yep.
These are Piedmont shiners. So
Man,
Piedmont
you feed
shiners
them
are
well.
subspecies yellowfin shiners. Yeah,
Cool.
they
And so
get
you
my fish get fed today.
and they're
And I switch up their food constantly. So
will they eat flake food or pellet food at all, or do they need live food or frozen?
no, I mean they eat flake food, they eat pellet food. I mean they'll
Nice.
even I'll show you. Here's my mixture of foods.
Oh
My
yeah.
vast
That
uh,
is that tropical
omega ones,
granules?
Dr. Bacillers. Yep. Uh, Bug bites, coloring granules,
Yep.
Sarah O nips. This is a
Oh, that's
3-pound bucket of
Onips.
Sarah O nips.
Holy smokes. I don't think
Yeah.
I've even seen that size. I do like those though.
So
It's fun to watch the fish swarm those things.
I don't know why my phone ain't
Man,
focusing. Hold on. That didn't work. But yeah, that's my shelf of fish foods.
right
But like I
on.
was saying, all of these fish all being wild caught and stuff, they still like. You're not gonna do it now? You gonna make me a liar?
Yeah, you can never count on fish to perform on camera.
Oh, see, there they go.
There they go. Yeah, they're starting to swarm a little bit.
I know the mountain red bellies would do it,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna
yeah,
take it away from you guys if you.
they're very tame uh, for wild caught fish. And then I think there's only one pygmy killifish in this tank currently. I don't see him, but he's in there somewhere. But yeah,
Oh
I've
yeah,
got
they're
pygmy
small.
killifish. Oh yeah, super small. These are juvenile rainbow shine or rainbow darters, which are from
Oh,
the ones that I found. So
wait. So did
these are the juveniles that I collected from the bottom of that stream tank.
so you bred those then?
Yeah, yep. These are tank bred.
And they're wait. Did you say rainbow darters? Is what those are?
Yep, these are actually offspring from these two, the original
Oh
spawning that they did
wow,
in my stream tank.
that is so cool. They're such a beautiful fish, colored up. We'll have to show. We'll have to show. I'll have to pull up a picture so folks
Yeah.
can get an idea of what they look like.
And just a disclaimer: a lot of my tanks have algae and stuff in them, but it's because I have a lot of smaller fish that feed on the stuff that lives within the algae. So that I try to keep my a lot of the tanks in here full of algae, basically, to help culture other microfauna that the juveniles and stuff will feed off of.
Totally.
That's why mulm and
Nature ain't always
mulm
pretty.
and algae.
All right, so
And
I
then
wanted to
these
just
are
share. I'm just sharing this real quick. What a rainbow darter can look like up close. They can be incredibly colorful when they're spawning and stuff, guys. So this is what they look like, or can look like. This is what they look like when I've caught them every time. So just wanted to share that. We'll pop back over
yeah.
to Kenny now, but they are a beautiful, beautiful, colorful orange, blue, red, gold fish. Unlike really unlike most tropical fish too. They're almost next level beyond that, the patterns and things.
Oh, absolutely. These are mamachogs.
Oh yeah, and those were the first fish in space.
Yeah, and these guys here are actually recovering from some ick that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they look, I mean, you could still see some of it on them. I've just switched from fresh to brackish water in this tank recently, so that's combating the ick for them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. They're beautiful fish, and they're very resilient. They can do brackish, they can do fresh, they can do full
Oh,
salt for a second.
and when I first got these guys, the males, the ones with the silver speckles on them, when they get all fired up, their body basically turns like a charcoal gray, like a dark gray, with
Yes,
those silver
yeah.
speckles that. And I think I've got a short on YouTube maybe with the males all fired up chasing the females around. And
Yeah,
then
they're
this tank
beautiful.
down here, which is a little, this tank has 3 common log perch.
Common
These are
log
another
perch.
darter. They're one of the larger species of darters.
Yeah, they're very cool.
This tank down here has long-nosed dace, eastern black-nosed dace, yellowfin shiners, and Savannah darters, and a fantail darter in it,
Savannah darters
and a
are
bunch of
great.
snails.
So
Yeah, I don't see any.
I'm gonna show folks real quick here again. This is a mummy chog, or the fundulus heteroclitus, and you can see what he's talking about. That dark charcoal color with the almost metallic blue banding. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's silver, but they are really a pretty fish. Also, that gets overlooked constantly. All right, back to Keni.
Yes, here's one of the little Savannah darters. The other, I mean, they all kind of hide in the rocks and stuff too, but the long-nosed dace is right there in the middle, and then the other guys, those are eastern black-nosed dace. There's another, that's the fantail darter.
Yeah, I mean, darters have such diversity. It is insane what is out there. And we're constantly finding new ones.
Yeah. And then
So
on to some of the other stuff.
yeah,
I've got a long-nosed gar,
cool.
which is going to be a monster.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah, he's not even a year old yet. When I got him, he was about 2.5 inches, and he's about 5 or 6 inches now.
Wow. So I just want to show folks real quick too. Again, let me pop in between, but these are what darters can look like. Some of the different darters. I'm just gonna roll through these, but here's a tangerine darter. Then I mean, they're really beautiful. And then you've got all sorts of Keni fork darter. Beautiful. I mean, they look way more psychedelic than a lot of the tropical fish, believe it or not. And
I think there's around 250 or so species of darters.
Yeah. Oops. What did I click? Oh, it's just Amazonas trying to sell us ads. How do I get out of this ad? Oh no, I'm trapped in ad. All right. Well, we're going to go back to Keni now because Amazonas magazine doesn't want us to look at their article. All right. So yeah, but in any case, there are incredible fish. in American waters and hardly explored. I know that
Oh yeah.
laws make it a little difficult. I, in Washington State, tend to say that I'm taking home live bait and that I will return tomorrow to use it fishing. And then, oops, I forgot. Because in my state, anything that's not endangered or a game fish, you can use as bait fish, but you have to remove it from the water. And when it returns, it needs to be dead as bait. But there's no set time limit on when it needs to come back into the water out of your freezer or whatever as bait. So I'm, in theory, on my ponds, I'm just keeping a live bait supply.
These are all bait fish, I swear.
Yeah, the game warden
This
basically let me work that out with him. What my story would be.
Yeah. So then I've got this guy here. This is a juvenile chain pickerel. So he's
Awesome.
one of the larger species of pickerels, and probably the middle child of the Esox family, which includes pikes and muskies, and your chain pickerels, grass pickerel, redfin pickerel. Those are all Esox.
Yeah, they're wild. I don't have those anywhere near me, but boy, they're a savage looking fish. I mean, they're cool. Just they look kind of primitive, kind of
I
like a
mean,
barracuda. I mean, they're just neat.
he's a little camera shy, but he's an absolute monster when it's feeding time. Like, I don't
Oh, I
think I've
bet.
seen a fish something so fast.
Yeah. I've actually heard you have to be careful that they don't like choke because they'll just take on, anything. So I want to mention again, guys, thank you so much for subscribing to his channel and checking it out. All I ask is at least that you check it out. But Keni, I just thought I'd mention you got 785 subscribers now.
Holy shit. All right, cool. My link.
Looks like you're gonna have to do that giveaway.
I'm gonna.
Shouldn't have said it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Though.
and so yeah, I appreciate everything. You know, yeah.
No, it's what is
But
that a
yeah,
fundulus?
Chrysotis,
Okay. Yep.
the golden top minnow.
Yeah, this is a fat one.
Yeah, that's a golden top minnow. Crayfish here. But yeah, he's well fed. Like all of my tanks having the algae and stuff in them in this room, it provides a constant live food source from the microfauna and the snails and the scuds and
Totally.
everything else that are in these tanks. And then these fish, you get to exhibit natural hunting and feeding behaviors watching them.
Totally. That's awesome. And somebody, Nano Aquarium guy says, prize giving away shiners, question mark?
I might do a group of 5 of my F1 rainbow shiners. Yeah,
That'd be a
that
good gift.
might be part of the giveaway.
Be an awfully nice giveaway.
Yep. I've got a
Y'all
couple
better.
other things in mind, which I'm gonna have to work out, and but be on the lookout for a giveaway stream announcement.
Right on. Yeah, so if you guys didn't
Yeah.
subscribe, you're not going to get no giveaways. No, that's awesome. We've sure got a lot of fish that are, man, they're all
Yeah.
native. That is so cool.
This tank is central stone rollers and red or why can't I think of it? Red side shiner.
Okay, I was gonna say I was way off. I was like long nose something.
Well, the 2 at the top are central stone rollers, and then this guy is a the red-sided dace.
Nice. Man, they vary a lot.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
like I'd say probably 80% of my fish are wild caught, collected by myself.
Super cool.
And then this tank has one swamp fish in it, which, oh, there he is. You can see him. See him like right in the middle of the screen.
Swamp fish. Now, what is a swamp fish? Pardon
Right
my
there.
ignorance.
I forget the Latin name, but if you wanna screen share and do a quick Google search, you can.
Let's see here. Swamp fish.
It's one word.
Swamp fish. Okay, swamp fish. Oh, okay. I see. It's a Cologaster cornuta. Let me share that with everyone
Yeah.
for a moment.
And biologists have discovered that these swamp fish are actually related to a lot of the blind cave fish that you see. A lot of the because they're basically the same thing that have been trapped in caves and adapted over millennia.
Ah, interesting. So they've managed to work their way into the caves. The same fish probably
Yep.
swam, probably a hardy fish then, and
Yeah.
it's managed to, yeah, adapt. Very cool. They're very interesting. They almost look like, I mean, no, I guess, I mean, they don't have the same tail structure or anything. I'm going to show people really quick too your bowfin, what that looked like, just in case they couldn't see it as well. But now they have split bowfins into groups, and bowfin actually have this giant long fin that goes the whole length of the dorsal kind of goes the whole length of them, and they almost look like knife fish from
Yeah.
above. And the whole body kind of moves in these segmented ways, and they're quite beautiful when spawning usually too. Especially when I was down in Florida and I
Yeah.
saw them all.
My bowfin's a male, and he'll get like this like teal turquoise green in his fins and his belly and stuff when he's interested in trying to spawn.
Oh, nice. So he must be, yeah, yeah, exactly, the northern kind with the yellow and green rather than the red and green. Very cool. And they're an ancient lineage. That, yeah, here
Yeah.
you go. You can see in these pictures. I mean, just how intense they can get. Um, so there you are. All right, back to Keni.
Yep. And then I don't know if we'll see them, but this tank also houses the Nezi sword turtles,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah.
they're very reclusive unless they're coming out for food, but they hide amongst the vegetation a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's one.
Oh yeah,
There's
you
another
see
one.
its little
And
eyes.
they have because I've seen little tiny babies a few times.
Nice. And they're live bears, obviously. Yeah.
And then after that, I've got my scud and snail grow out tanks and a tank for quarantine and treatment in case I get something
Very
that's sick.
cool. Well, thank you so
And I think
much,
that
man. Why don't you come sit back down if you're cool with it, and we'll do a couple questions if folks have any.
alrighty then.
Oh, there goes the holy of holies chamber.
Back to these guys.
Man, those are such beautiful fish.
And again, these are all wild caught, but like
Oh, they friendly. Mine in my pond would always nip at my hands. Very cool.
Like
And
I
those are
can.
pumpkin seed fish there with the red, and then bluegills were with them.
So the
Yep.
pumpkin seed. That's a bluegill.
And then the rock bass have almost
Uh,
like a weird digital pattern and a red eye or auburn colored eye usually when they're younger.
there he is.
Yep. Yeah,
That's the rock.
we get those in Seattle a lot, even though they're not native. I catch those all the time.
That's the big pumpkin seed. And
When they're
again, the
colored down
dolphin
like
is in the
that,
back corner.
yeah. Does he just kind of sleep like that? Like, is that just kind of his jam that way? Boy, beautiful
It's
markings.
actually rare for it's rare for him to be out like this right now because he usually hides like in a burrow back behind this log here.
Yeah.
And then my seeds decided to start making a nest. This big guy here, so that's the beginning of a nest.
Yeah, they are fascinating. Pumpkin seed fish, I mean, as well as, well, there's a lot of fish that are interesting in North America, but the colder climate fish nest a lot. They're very into making a nest, and with pumpkin seed and bluegills, I've seen them even collect like sparkly things and make like rings around their main mound where they'll have like, you know, light colored rocks on the outer ring, and then they'll have dark colored rocks on the inner ring, like to make a contrasting pattern. It's very wild, like what they'll end up creating at times. uh they're very smart, that's for sure. Silver Creek says hashtag 800 subs for Keni. Yeah, I agree. I think we can get there,
Yeah,
guys. I think we can get there. All right. So, any questions for ABC? Uh, that's Aquatic Biotopes. I'm trying to get my hand in the screen to point. Aquatic Biotopes Creations, Keni. And look, he's a nice guy. He doesn't bite. He's a friendly. He's a friendly man. Let's see here. Let's see here.
Did you catch that?
No, it kind of gurgled.
I said I do have a bifurcated tongue.
Oh, you do? Did you do that yourself or did you go to a shop? Ah, nice. I've done that to two people.
No, I had it done in the shop.
Yeah, I used to tattoo, and I had a piercer that I worked with, and he's like, "Oh, it's not that hard. Why don't you try it?" And I'm like, "Because I don't want to mess someone up forever." And they're like, "It's not that bad. We're just gonna use their existing piercing, and we're just gonna come with a I was gonna say X-Acto knife. That is not the right word. Scalpel."
Yeah. So I had it done twice actually. The first time it was done, it was just done with a scalpel and it wasn't sutured or it wasn't a cauterizing scalpel or anything. And I'd say within a month it came together, all except for about the first like quarter of an inch of my tongue.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to get it, and I just had it redone probably 3 years ago now. And the second time it was done with a cauterizing scalpel, and then it was sutured on both sides.
Okay.
So
All
now
right.
I'm left with what I got now.
Nice. And it doesn't hurt or anything anymore. You're good to go.
I did tattoos for 15 years when I was younger.
Oh, nice. Nice. Similar story to me then. Yeah. Let's see.
I stopped doing. I think what got to me the most was everybody wanting something for nothing, and then like expecting me to do stuff on their time and not my time and everything. So it pushed me out of it.
I totally understand that. And like my back was hurting when I was doing it. So I was like just always in weird angles and stuff. And you'd get people who wanted the same like 5 things all the time, and it was just predictable and just got kind of frustrating. And you don't want to be jaded about something you're doing that's permanent. You don't want to be a jerk. There's a lot of tattoo people out there that already are kind of like the jerk who sits and tattoos people and talks crap about them behind their back. And I just didn't want to be that. I hear you. Let's see here. Are there any semi-nano fish in Minnesota? Nino Franklin wants to know. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's like
yes. The best way for anybody that wants to know what's in their area, I suggest going to fishmap.org, which is sponsored by NANFA, which is the North American Native Association. I'm a member of NANFA, but fishmap.org, you can go to it. It's a website. You can put in your area code. You can search for anything like watersheds within that area code, and you click on a watershed, and it'll show you a list of everything that's been caught in that area. Or if you're looking for a specific species, you can type in the common name or the Latin name of the species, and it'll bring up a map and show you everywhere that fish has been caught in the continental United States.
Totally, and it actually
is a great resource to have.
Yeah, it actually pulls in, like, you got FishBase, you got the GIS, the federal and state systems of tracking, and then it even tells like iNaturalist, so you can decide what you want to have on your list, like what validity level, like if you want to have citizen scientists or amateur info, or if you only want like published paper academic level research info. But yeah, that's a great point. That is a good way to do that. Let's see here. For biotope tanks, how often do you do water changes or anything special with the water? So I'm guessing like KH, GH, stuff like that. Do you have to do anything special with what you're doing with your tanks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty lucky to have my tap water is not very hard, and the pH is usually 0.8, 7.9. So a lot of the biotopes that I tend to go for will have that sort of range. But I mean, I do like a lot of my biotopes are dirted tanks, so it's a thick dirt layer and then a sand cap above it. And for like the black water tank here, I did a little bit less of a sand cap, and the substrate mix that I use for my dirted layer has white peat in it, which is a pH buffer. It'll lower the pH, and so it's white peat. I use dolomite lime, a couple different forms of water soluble nitrogen and non-water soluble nitrogen, and some potassium and stuff like that, and worm castings, old leaf litter. That's all mixed into a big tote that I use for my dirted layers in my tanks.
Super. That's super interesting. That's an interesting way to do it. I like that. So we have another question from the Nano Aquarium guy, which is there a native fish that you would like to keep that you have not kept yet? Gee, I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a dream of mine to keep. I think these species that I would love to keep, that I am to keep. But aside from that, there most of the species of fish that on a to keep list are either threatened or endangered. So I can't keep them. But Keni darters, one, spot fin chubs are another one. They're beautiful fish.
Devil's hole pupfish.
And then yeah, and then I guess another one that I could keep is the tangerine darters, which I plan on trying to sort later in the spring, maybe midsummer. I want to do a collecting trip and get some of those.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Those are beautiful. Oh, um, well, right on. Well, Kenny, I want to thank you so much for sharing time with us. I think we've got you almost to 800 now. So if there's anybody watching that is interested in native fish and how to build a flowing tank with actual laminar or layered flowing that doesn't have the turbulence of crossing power heads or a center area that has a vortex in it, plus all the babies can survive down there and the little critters and stuff, check out Kenny's channel. He's got builds, he's got up close, and obviously when we're live we get kind of scrambled because of stuff. So check him out though. If you're interested in native fish, also check out NANFA, the North American Native Fish Association. They're a great resource. Their Facebook group is always popping. There's a lot of us on there, and
Are you going to the meetup in March?
I would like to, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I'm going to be in Mexico literally up till 2 days before that. And so, I mean, I probably just can't flip around from Mexico, Seattle, South Carolina, or North Carolina, or whatever. I don't think it's going to work as much as I'd like to, as much as, yeah, I really do want to go. But, oh, you're breaking up. What was that?
Are you going to make it to the Keystone Clash?
I don't know about that. Hopefully with like Keni or someone like that, I can come out with a group of Pacific Northwesterners that want to go. That's what I'm hoping we can sort out somehow.
I'll be there this year again. I was there last year, and I won second place in the aquascaping competition, and I'm going for first place this year.
Right on. That's awesome. Well, and I wish you the best. I'm sure we'll be in touch after this. I want to thank you so much for your time and for chatting with us. And yeah, Andy, he's got video, or Patricia too. They've got videos showing how to create tanks on his channel. He's got it showing how he does all the underpinning work and all that in his videos. So plus he's a pretty nice guy. I'm sure before his channel gets super popular, you could probably message him and just talk to him. So very cool. Kenny, I want to thank you again. Everybody watching, I want to thank you. Eric Wyrock, that super chat. Thank you, sir. Everyone just being a part of tonight's fun. You guys rock. Thanks for subscribing to his channel and being here for hanging out. And to those of you in the future, I hope you enjoy this video too. You know, you guys are just as important as everyone else. Oh, we're at 798 on your subs now. So 2 more to go to hit 800. We'll get there. I bet by the end of tomorrow, we'll probably be about 815 or something.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful night. We're signing out. Ira, thank you. And everybody in here, thank you so much. Have a great one.
Yep.
The link to his channel is pinned up above and in the comments. Let me just refresh one more time. I wonder if we can get 2 more people to subscribe to push us over. Oh, we did. We are at the 801 mark right now. We're at 801. This camera does not focus very well. Whatever. But 801. Congratulations, Kenny, man. You deserve it. You've been putting out great content for quite a while now, and you've been part of our community, my channel over here for a long time, giving lots of helpful info. I really do appreciate you being a part of it all. So thanks, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me up here, and thank you all to all the people in the chat and all the new subscribers and the support. You know, it's So people love it. It's awesome, and I appreciate
Right on. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We will talk. We will talk to everybody next time. I'll be around tomorrow. All right. Take it easy. Bye.